All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Beyond the Ring with Big T Wrestling podcast here. We're at episode number 18 for September 17th, 2016. And I'm your host, Big T, here with you. And I got a special guest here with me today. He is a current referee in AIW, which is a indie promotion in right up here in Cleveland, Ohio. They do great work. They're one of the best, indie promotions in the country. I love what they do. I always go and check out their shows. And we got Mr. Dave Dawson here with us tonight. How you doing, Dave?
Yeah, good, man. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Just to get a little bit into where you're working at AIW, I tried to do the best introduction I could because I know you guys are definitely one of the top indie promotions in the country. And tell me a little bit about AIW.
Well, we're definitely trying to be the top. I mean, they've been around since 2005. I was lucky enough to get a part of the promotion on their third show back in 2005. It was their Hell on Earth show. That's kind of the show where they don't necessarily throw the rule book out the window, but it's a lot more edgier. The other shows that they kind of put on, but I've been going strong every show for the most part. There's a couple of gaps, but we won't get into that. But there's kind of like a difference between AIW now compared to what it was. We kind of call those like the dark years per se. Those were years where the footage was taped by a young man who charged his camera with a number 2 pencil, and that is the truth. But now we have Smart Mark Video doing all the footage, and the momentum's there. We have bigger guests, Terry Funk, just to name a few. But yeah, it's we're going on 11 years or 12 years. Jeez, yeah, where's my head? We just did Absolution on 11. So the momentum's there. We want to be the best, and I think it's working.
I was actually there live for the Absolution 11 show, and I got to tell you, that was top-notch entertainment.
Yeah, they definitely know how to keep the crowd into it. I mean, you go to an AIW show, and you're getting every type, you're getting everything that a wrestling fan wants. Like some of these promotions, it's just basically strict wrestling, and I don't think that wrestling fans just want to see match after match after match. A tackle here, drop kick there, suplex there. Fans, they want to keep it interesting, and I think that's the difference between Absolute and Intense Wrestling and a lot of the other guys that run.
I love the interaction, that you get with the superstars. Like, you walk into an AIW show, and I got to tell you, it's a feeling like no other. You go in there, the ring's all set up. You guys wrestling, all the superstars are just hanging out at their home tables, around the room, and you get to go and chat with them all. And it's a very atmosphere. It really is. Good wrestling fans, great wrestlers, great superstars, just great people there. It's like a very intimate setting where you really get to know the superstars and get to chat with them before they have their matches. It's great.
Yeah, that's another thing that we have offer. The doors open, fans are coming in, and some of the wrestlers want to, mingle with the fans before, during, intermission, after, So, for the most part, you go to an AIW show and you see there's 20 to 30 guys advertised. The chances of you meeting all 30 of the superstars that are on the show are pretty likely.
Oh yeah, because I'll tell you, I've had good luck with it when I look at the list of people that are there and say I pick the ones out that I want to meet, and I go around and accessible. It really is.
Yeah, it's very fan supportive. In retrospect of the product, you want to go to a show because Colin Delaney's advertised. You're going to be able to chat and hang out with Colin Delaney. Same with or Grado or Tracy Smothers or just any other guys. And sometimes, like I was mentioning, we have these guests when some of these promotions they don't bring guys in like Booker T and Terry Funk and like Dennis Stamp or Jimmy Wang Yang for that matter. Every month you get the opportunity to meet some of your childhood heroes who you see these guys on TV, and when they're on TV or when they're you don't really get to meet them and mingle with them like that. But when we bring in some of the stars, that's your opportunity, and I think that's kind of what separates us from the rest.
It definitely does, and I'll tell you, like you guys even had EC3 there when he was TNA World Heavyweight Champion. EC3 is one of my favorites. Whenever you guys have him there, I always make it sure to go down and see an AIW show.
Yeah, EC3, believe it or not, has been an AIW mainstay since the very first show. People don't know that. He's from Ohio. He's been with the organization since the very first show. I believe the very first show that he did was back in 2005 for AIW, and I believe I'd really have to go back and check out. But I'm pretty positive that he wrestled a man named The Passion, John Thorne, who happens to be one of the founding fathers, per se, of the organization.
Oh, wow, that's pretty incredible. Well, Dave, this is a very great story about the promotion that you work for, and, I love what you guys do, and now I want to turn my attention a little bit to you and talk about what inspired you get involved in the professional wrestling business. Like when was it like that time where the light bulb just went off in your head and you're like, I got to be a part of this business because I love it?
Well, everybody that's involved in pro wrestling obviously liked it at some point in their life. I happen to grasp the attention of the entertainment, I guess you can call it, early in my life. I don't remember exactly when, but the two guys that stood out from what I can remember: WrestleMania 3, the Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage Intercontinental title match. And it wasn't the wrestling that actually stood out, because obviously I'm a little kid and stuff. Flamboyancy and the colors and the characters and just the excitement of how the crowd was. As a kid, you don't really break down the wrestling. You're just watching two guys, battle it out, and you don't grasp the concept of what a good match is and what a bad match is. But you see the characters, you see the colors, you see what stands out and what gets your attention. And Macho Man being who he was with the tassels and his hats and having Miss Elizabeth and the tone in his voice and the movements of his hands. And then you had Ricky Steamboat, who didn't do as much talking, but he still had the colors. He still had that flamboyancy. The dragon fire around him, and he came out at a few times with the Komodo dragon, and that's the kind of stuff that really grabbed my attention. It wasn't necessarily the Midnight Rockers or the Orient Express or the Bastion Boogers per se, but the characters really grasped my attention. I was really never like a Hulk Hogan guy. Like, I mean, I kind of was. Everybody's a Hulk Hogan guy, but he didn't get my attention like Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat. So that's kind of where that all started. With things changing and the different organizations that came out, I wasn't too huge ECW guy, but when I was allowed to watch the product, because I didn't have the best TV, like I'd have to like get the bunny ears and like wiggle them around and be able to get that channel. It was then growing up, being like a teenager and stuff, that's when I was like, I wanted to see like cool stuff. So when I'm seeing like Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn and Super Crazy or Jerry like doing backflips and like everybody like landing on their heads and stuff like that, but it was like, oh man, like this is cool stuff. So it was not so much the characters anymore. It was more about like these guys are beating the living crap out of each other, and like being able to do that without knowing, out of pro wrestling as I do today. That's kind of what kept me. So the transition that kept me going was being able to, you're a teenager, young adult per se, and that's like shock value, and that definitely was. So when I turned 18, I kind of went about it the wrong way, and I think everyone kind of does at first. But I kind of did a match myself, and I was managing 3 dudes. I don't really remember their names. And there was 3 other guys on the opposing team, and I didn't really know the rules and regulations of what the match was going to happen. But while the match is going on, I'm like, oh yeah, there's gonna be no rules. There's gonna be a lot of violence, a lot of action around the ring and stuff. And I was just told to like take a cookie sheet and my close friends in the head with it. And the thing that really like, next thing you know, there's like light tubes and stuff being like smashed over people's heads, and I'm just like, okay. And that's when I went ahead and took a slam on the outside, and I made a run for it because some scary stuff. I wasn't really expecting that. I had to think back and figure out, whether this was a good idea or not. So before I was a referee, I physically got involved in some of the wrestling action with AIW. I helped with the ring crew. I brought a couple of buddies with me who liked wrestling. We were like the ring crew, and they'd throw staff shirts on us, and we would basically like not really play crowd control, but that was kind of like our, hey, thanks for helping type deal. We'd be able to like stand on the other side of the guardrail, and there's weird parts of the show where we actually had to get in the ring and like pull apart like a brawl. So that was kind of cool because I was like able to step in the ring and be able to like physically get involved, and it was kind of like a test. And down the road, I was asked to if I wanted to work with another one of the guys named Rebus at the time. And at first it was supposed to be just like a manager type thing where I'd come out in like a dress shirt and dress pants. completely obnoxious, where I went ahead and transitioned wearing a dress shirt and dress pants, and I went ahead and invested myself in these really obnoxious leather alligator snake printed pants. And then I went ahead and went to an ambiance and I bought furry boot covers.
Oh man.
And then I would like wear these really obnoxious like tropical shirts that were like I would cut right up the middle my extremely white pale bird chest. And then I would, I was basically like kind of like the big baby face would come out, the big good guy would come out, and he'd cheer and whatever, or if the roles were reversed, where it was like a big, super violent villain, the heel per se, he'd come out and just dancing and having a good time, high-fiving people, giving people like beads and candy and all this other weird stuff, and next thing you know, the big heel would just he's on us, and we'd pretty much go out there and put the bigger guy over. Fast forward a little bit, we decided to transition from guys and started bashing women's wrestling because AIW wanted to kind of test the waters with female wrestlers, because for the longest time it was male dominated, and where there would be no females, there would just be valets. In comes Haley Hatred, who at the time lived in Cincinnati, who's well traveled, been to Japan, has been was with AIW for a long time. We would come out and basically bash women's wrestling because they would put on these all-girls shows, and that was like the first time. Well, no, Haley came before the all-girl show. Haley was introduced to AIW wrestling featuring women's wrestler Haley Hatred. So there was not like an opponent for her. So me and Rebus would come out and we'd bash her, cut promos, talk about how women should be in the kitchen, how they shouldn't be wrestling, how wrestling is a male-dominated sport. That I even dropped the fact that the only cool thing that I've seen a woman do is stand in the kitchen and make stovetop.
Let's see what we got. Now I just got to listen and do a little test. Sorry about that, everybody, that the microphone cut out. Let me see if I'm coming through. 1 second here. All right, there we go. We're back up and running. Dave, you can continue. Sorry about that.
Let's see, where was I? Yeah, Haley Hatred.
You were at the part, the coolest thing that you saw a woman do was stand in the kitchen and make stovetop.
Yeah, there it is. And that's when Haley came out and pretty much beat us up, hit us with suplexes. And then that for probably 6 months, I want to say. It might have gone on a little bit longer than that. But pretty much the angle was me and Rebus would get beat up by Haley Hatred month after month after month, and then we would hire a woman ourselves who would then only be there for one show, and she would basically get take Haley out of AIW. That was like the thing we were going with. That girl happened to be Mickey Knuckles, who is one of the baddest female wrestlers I've ever met in my whole entire life. Real sweetheart, but man, when she's in the ring, man, she does not play games. So I guess it was kind of fitting because we would have Haley Hatred, who is a very very hard hitting females wrestler. So we want to bring in somebody who can compete with her. So that was Absolution 3, I believe. Yeah, that sounds right. Absolution 3. We brought in Mickey. They had the very first women's match in Absolution 3, Haley versus Mickey. The crowd was really into it. And then when decided to introduce a women's title to the organization. So they had Girls Night Out 1, which declare the first ever AIW Women's Champion. Mary Elizabeth Monroe, who happens to be Kelly Klein, was on that show. Let's see, Super Oprah was on that show. Sammy Lane was also on that show. I think who else? Eight women's tournament. There was a couple guys matches. Ricky Shane Page, Eric Ryan, I believe, were on the show also. Make a long story short, Haley won the tournament. She became the first ever women's champion, and that kind of escalated the women's division at AIW. So, you know, that also kind of, as a performer, because I mean, I'm not violent. I don't, you know, I'm all against like beat up by men and domestic violence and all that shit. So
yeah,
it was kind of hard. Like it wasn't like hard for me because I wasn't doing any of the hitting. I was getting hit. It was fun. It was a good time, and you know, it was just a real good time because after that, me and Rivas would there was a time where we wrestled Ben Boone in a handicap match. Ben Boone was the type of wrestler who would he's at the commentator's table and he was doing color commentary, and then there would always just be this random moment where Ben Boone would just take off his suit jacket and he'd be in his wrestling tights and he'd just get in the ring and beat somebody up. Which is a really fun gimmick. I've never seen anything like that done before besides like Jerry Lawler doing it like during Royal Rumbles and stuff. But Ben Boone would do that very frequently. I wouldn't say every show, but anytime you seen Ben Boone at the commentary table, you just didn't know what to expect because there would be at some point during the show he'd get up and get in the ring, and you know, there's that one time where he just took me to Rivas to the limits, which was fun. Ben's a good guy. Been a long 11 years, man. Like,
yeah, trying to relive a decade. That's a lot of history, but I'll tell you, you're doing a good job, and you know you're bringing this rich history of AIW back to life, which is so great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, there's that happened, and months after we did this angle with Haley and Nikki, and there was a part where I basically had to fend for myself because Rivas decided to quit the business, and I didn't know what to do because Rivas was like the veteran per se of the team. He knew about wrestling than I did. Now I had basically had to figure things out on my own, and I didn't really have. I mean, I had obviously my opponents that I worked with were able to walk me through things, but then it just turned into where, you know, I would come out and I would be really mad that I don't have a tag partner anymore. And next thing you know, the big baby face or the big heel, whatever, would come out, and you know, it'd just be the whole schmoz again, except I'm doing it by myself. And then after happening, AIW started booking these kids out of Bucyrus, Ohio, Ben Truth and Corey Winters, who were trained by Johnny Ardano, who I know we're going to get to that show here later on. But I would align myself with them, and we'd do like 6-man tags, or they would do a tag match, and I would stand in their corner. And then we would, then we ended up getting this really obnoxious, like, stable led by the Duke, who is still going strong with AIW. He's currently managing BJ Whitmer right now, which is an amazing time. Those two have the best chemistry I've seen in a very long time with the wrestler and the quote manager. The Duke's not really like a manager. He's like a manager, wrestler, mouthpiece. Like he's the whole package, to be honest with you. But we had this stable where it was myself, Ben Truth, Corey Winters, Hobo Joe was involved in that stable at some point. Mr. RBI, Isaiah Bonds, Combat Kid, the Duke. And it was just like a big like frat party, where we were pledges to be in the frat, and we have to like do really obnoxious things to get into the frat. Yeah, that was a whole thing. But fast forward, are legitimately like the hardest thing to find. Not so much anymore, because wrestling is such a spectacle now that everyone wants to be a part of it in some way, shape, or form. So there's people training to be wrestlers, there's people training to be referees and managers and stuff like that. So after a while, wrestling just kind of took a toll on me. Legitimately hurt. Plywood under that mat. So it does hurt, and it's going to take a toll on you, and it's probably going to catch up to you in some way, shape, or form, especially when you're the size of me. When I was wrestling, I was 113 to maybe 130 pounds was my max. That's really hard for somebody my size to just be like flipping and getting like thrown on and getting tossed, 7 feet in the air and just landing very awkwardly in a ring. So I spoke with, this is where the transition into being a referee happens. I talked to numerous people. One of those was a very, very good friend of mine, JT Lightning, who happens to pass away several years ago. He lost to the battle of throat cancer. He pulled me aside one time at a Cleveland All Pro Wrestling show and told me that me wrestling was not a good idea, and he highly recommended me to referee. And I thought about it, and I'm like, I didn't want to referee. Like, I was having a lot of fun, even though it hurt. Like, I'm like doing all these things that are like making a crowd react, and I didn't really want to referee. But he highly recommended it. He told me to consider it and think about it and let him know, because he wanted me to be used on his shows as a referee. So at the time, in Elyria, Ohio, Drew Cordero, who runs Beyond Wrestling in Providence, Rhode Island, I think. Rhode Island, up in the New England states. Chuck Biggins, Chris Bryan, John Thorne, and a few of the other guys, they wanted a referee because they were doing like like studio tapings. This is before they had a live action crowd.
Okay.
And I threw a referee shirt on and I gave it a try, and I sucked. I didn't know what I was doing. So they kind of like broke it down to me exactly like what I needed to do, and making sure this, that, and the other's happening, and that for a couple of matches, and this is actually kind of cool. Longer and like beating myself up. Like I'm in the ring and I get to be in the ring with some of my. So I went ahead and talked to JT, and I cashed in on the referee offer that he made to Cleveland All Pro Wrestling and the Beyond Studio tapings. And then I was contacted by the AIW guys, and they thought of this angle where basically I would transition during their shows to being a wrestler, to a referee. So I don't remember the exact. There was a goal for the gold where I came out and Colt Cabana and I don't remember who else was in the ring. Pretty much Colt Cabana was in the ring. Tim Doss, that's the other guy. It was Colt Cabana and Tim Doss. I came flying down the entrance ramp. Here I am. I'm ready to be a part of the Gauntlet for the Gold. The winner of the Gauntlet for the Gold gets the title after the Absolution. So I'm yelling and screaming how I'm going to win, how I'm going to get the title shot. And I took and I roughed him up a little bit, and I ripped their shirt off, and I threw the referee shirt on. Now, keep in mind, I've always been a gimmicky, goofy wrestler. So now, I took the referee shirt off of him, I put it on me, I slid in the ring, I look at Dawson, I look at Cabana, I look at the ring guy, and I go, hey, ring the bell. Just like the Royal Rumble. There's no pins, there's no submissions, you throw the guy with the top rope, and that's it. So they're doing this thing, and Tim Doss gets a pin. I count to 3. I raise Tim Doss' hand, and Colt Cabana looks at me and calls me an idiot. It's a battle royal. I got to throw him over the top rope to win. So then they start doing a little wrestling again, and Colt Cabana goes down. I count to 3, raise Colt Cabana's hand, and then I say I'm the winner, and I'm gonna go Absolution and wrestle for the big title. And so the goofy thing was I scaled up to the top rope. I raised my hands in the air and said I'm winning, and that's when they pitched me out. And so that was kind of like a silly way to transition being a referee. So then we did this thing where I'm talking to the owner, and he's like, I don't want you to be a wrestler anymore. It's not safe for you. And so then I do the referee shirt on. It was kind of like Duke said that because I was still in their frat house, he basically said to be in the frat you have to do this referee thing. So that's kind of how I transitioned into being a referee. Duke said, you're a pledge, and to get in this fraternity, you have to wear the red shirt, you have to referee, it's to wrestle. So that was like a cool way to kind of introduce me as a referee. So I started to do that, and I think I refereed like 3 or 4 shows. Then there was a little angle where I would turn into a villain ref. So out comes the character again. I forget what that solution was. It was one of the big ones. 8, 7, maybe it was 7. Big elimination style match. Match was all the referees, get beat up. Johnny Gargano wins the belt. comes out, says he's cashing in his contract to, he's cashing his contract to wrestle for the belt because he won it several shows ago. So he cashes in his contract for the title match, and the big angle was Chef Flexor is managing Sheena Zion. I go to take the pin. Johnny does his Hurts donut move. I go for the 3, 1, 2. I get pulled out of the ring, punch me in the face, and I go down. And I'm collecting baby powder in my hands. I get rolled back in the ring. My flex hurt. Johnny goes to wake me up. I throw the baby powder in Johnny's face. Big villain turn. Shima pins, fast count. Shima wins the belt. Me and the rest of the Flexor Industries run outside in this very obnoxious, WCW type ending where fans are legitimately pissed at that type of finish where they're chasing us outside the zine, and basically if you get the DVD or if you watch the footage, if you find the footage anywhere, it's a fade out of this limousine just pulling off. We are in this limousine for legitimately an hour and a half trying to make sure that fans were no longer there so we can go back and get our stuff because these fans were legitimately pissed off.
Wow.
That was the end. There were fans throwing stuff at the limousine. It was it was crazy. It was real hostile. Especially when you're selling at a wrestling show. These guys are drunk and they think it's real now. They're pissed.
Yeah, it crosses that gray area, from entertainment into reality, so to speak.
It was scary. These fans wanted to beat me up, and they wanted to beat up everybody that was in our group. But
gives me my issues from time to time. And
I gotcha.
It's a brand new one too. Oh, here we go. Let me see. I see my levels coming back on. Let me take a little listen to see if I coming through. All right, there we go. We're back on, man.
But pretty much that was the big transition into being a referee, because after we did the angle where I'm a villain ref, I get booked in this match where Johnny wants to wrestle me. Johnny wants to bring me out of wrestling retirement. Me and him have this crazy obnoxious match where there's wrestlers jumping off of basketball hoops. The whole entire roster's at ringside because there's my group and Johnny's group, and there's heels and faces, and the faces are blocking the heels off of the ring to protect me, and I'm getting beat up. I'm getting super kicked in the face, and wrestling definitely has its flaws, and one of those flaws is Johnny Gargano, at least against me, throws a super kick. It's real. He hit me in the face so hard. Listen to that footage and you hear the shot when he's throwing his kick. That isn't anything less than his foot hitting my face.
Oh, sounds painful.
I legitimately get bloody. It's big blood feud. I'm bleeding. The fans are going crazy, and so I took a little time off, just to kind of soak that moment in, because not everybody gets that type of per se. So I took a little time off, and I came back here and there, but I wasn't like physically involved. After I took my hiatus, me and the promoters, where I would come back and be a strict referee, and that was it. There was going to be no more angles and no more villain refs and nothing like that. So I was totally okay with it. We just needed to find out like how you would insert that into a show, because the last time the fans saw me, I'm a bad guy. I'm cheating. It was basically, oh look, here comes the bad ref. Like he's gonna screw over the good guy. So I kind of wanted to disappear for a little bit and kind of make people forget about that. But some fans always bring it up, the loyal ones who've been there throughout that whole entire time. But yeah, ever since I came back, I believe the show was Dead Presidents. Like Alex Shelley was on the show, Chris Hero was on the show, Chris Sabin. I'm trying to figure out. The card was stacked. Like it was like the who's who of pro wrestling that was on the show. That was my introduction back as a straightforward ref, and it's been going good ever since. I've been able to share the ring with my idols, which is super cool. But at the same time, I have to keep a professional environment, and I have to make sure that my job is 100%. The AIW fans, man, they're very nitpicky, and they pay attention to everything. So if anything goes wrong in the ring, whether it's myself or the wrestlers, or even the ring announcer for that matter, they're gonna let you know.
Oh, AIW fans are extremely passionate. They really are.
They are most passionate fans I've ever seen.
You know what it is? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I think I'm gonna hit this right on the head with how to describe AIW fans. It's like, when you have a big company like WWE or, even TNA being a bigger pro company, when, these big pro companies, they have great, passionate, hardcore fans, no doubt, but there's also the casual fans that are there. And I think AIW is just straight up your hardcore professional wrestling fans. Like, when you go there, I don't think you may find a casual or two, but I don't think you're going to find too many casuals. I think they're all the hardcore, passionate wrestling fans.
There are definitely some fans that are so passionate that they are legitimately willing to fly from other countries. Like, I've met people at an AIW show who have flown for a weekend show from like the United Kingdom or Alaska. Like, it's crazy.
That's incredible that you guys have that kind of national exposure.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that's it's been a long time coming, and I think that the momentum has shifted. Just to get this quick story out of the way, our last show that happened last weekend. I don't know if you have seen the articles or seen what happened or read the results, or if you were there, but was basically like a mixed martial arts / pro wrestling like hybrid type show. But we had Dan the Beast Severn on the show. We had Matt Riddle, who was on Ultimate Fighter fame. Shayna Baszler, that was her, I believe, 5th appearance with us, where she wrestled for the women's belt and she won. She's been on Ultimate Fighter. She's had UFC matches. But pretty much we had so many incredible personalities from the mixed martial arts world as well as the pro wrestling world. I mean, even the music world was there. I mean, Andy Williams, who wrestled for us at the Warped Tour, to check out the show. He's one of the members of the band Every Time I Die. That's incredible that he came out to check out the show. Frank the Clown and Noel Foley from Holy Foley on the WWE Network were there checking out the show. And let's not forget about the insane cameo appearance that I believe was only for the live crowd after Shayna Baszler won the belt. Jessamine Duke from UFC fame, who happened to be one of Shayna Baszler's 4 horsewomen, married her, and also Ronda Rousey came out of the curtain to celebrate her victory. So we had 3 out of 4 of the UFC 4 horsewomen on our stage show, and even if it was for 10 to 15 seconds, it's incredible. It was just insane. The crowd reaction was so positive. There was UFC personalities there too. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't recall their names. But if I seen their face, I'd be able to tell you they were like a big podcasters from the mixed martial arts world. But there was a couple other people that showed up, and I don't think that I'm able to say who they were, but there's a few pictures floating around online, and gist of it, and who that person was. But because we're not just, obviously we're bringing in pro wrestling fans, but some of these pro wrestling fans have had their own stardom, whether it be in the music industry, the pro wrestling industry, or the mixed martial arts world. It's something that we're definitely really proud of. We've even had Browns players show up. Like, that's insane.
I remember actually when you're talking about Browns players, I first witnessed an AIW show live in December of 2015 at the Keep the Change You Filthy Animal show.
Yeah.
Before the holidays, when Scott Hall was there, and that's when Gary Barnage was there. I saw a picture of him with EC3 together. Brown's tight end Gary Barnage. And now that you're telling me about this show that you guys had, I remember it was September 9th when you guys had it. I wish I would have been able to make it to this one because it sounds like it was one of the best ones that you guys have had. Because I remember when I was getting my tickets when I was at Absolution 11 and I went up to, Chandler Biggins about the Johnny Gargano, his final match. So I'm like, I got to get a ticket for this. And then I thought that was the only one that you guys were having in September. And then when I seen, I'm like, wow, you guys are having like a mixed martial arts, wrestling type hybrid. I'm like, wow, that's cool. And I wish I could have made it to that.
Yeah, it was, it definitely had more excitement and more positive outlook than this show was going to do good. I don't question any of the shows that Chandler and John put on. Because it's like of course there's going to be shows that do a lot better than others. I didn't think was going to be like an Absolution or a J-Lit or a Gauntlet or a Hell on Earth, but when the show was over, it damn sure felt like it.
Sounds like it too. It sounds like you guys made history that night.
It's crazy because like those pictures and videos are still floating around the internet world, and those pictures and the video they're getting in the hands of the right people. I seen Natty Neidhart retweet about that show.
Wow, that's huge.
mean, when we have WWE personalities retweeting about our shows, I think that's kind of when you know you're doing good.
Oh, guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed.
So it's wild. It's crazy. It's been an adventure. And the adventure is it ain't over yet. You know, I mean, we got 5 shows, 6 shows that I know of to finish off the year. Which I think only 4 of them are announced. There's the whole shebang. There is Double Dare 2016, which is a 2-day tag team elimination tournament to declare the new tag team champions. And then what's the other one? There's a Halloween type show, which is a bar show at Jack's Tequila Jack's, that's what it's called. Tequila Jack.
You guys are going back to Tequila Jack's? When's that going to be?
Jack show is October 15th, and that show is headlined by Raymond Rowe versus Jeff Cobb.
Nice.
And I don't think those two have ever met in the ring, but that is definitely something that the wrestling world does not want to miss out on. And that's the only thing even announced for that show. There's nothing even, that's it. Getting right now is that match. But yes, it's going to be a crazy way to end the year. The other 2 shows have not been announced. The dates haven't even been released yet, but I can promise you that when AIW ends 2016, there's going to be people talking. Not that they're not talking already, but they're going to be talking a lot more.
That only goes to show and get people more excited what's in store for 2017 or even Absolution 12. I mean, you guys are going to get bigger and bigger. All right, there we go. I got it back on, but yeah, like I was saying, man, it's great stuff what you guys are doing, and you definitely got a huge fan in me to keep wanting to come back. You guys got me hooked.
Not taken lightly. Like it's all in paper. Like the owners, the promoters, everyone involved, they listen. And this money doesn't go to anyone but the performers. You know,
Wow, it's so hard to believe that he has not stepped inside, an AIW ring yet.
If you haven't seen him, if you haven't heard of him, well, I wouldn't recommend you miss that show.
No, I definitely want to go and see that one, and especially at Tequila Jack's, that's going to be a great environment.
Yeah, I believe he's an Olympic collegiate amateur pro wrestler, and he's bringing his style to the pros. Like he's been to several of the, I guess you could say, bigger promotions as is, but now it's time for him to showcase his ability in front of the AIW loyals, and it's crazy because Raymond Rowe actually was a collegiate wrestler back in his high school days. So it's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be something for wrestling fans to not want to miss out on.
No, you definitely got that right, and I'll tell you, I don't want to miss out on it either.
Yeah, man.
But I guess I'm gonna go ahead and ask you, out of all the matches that you wrestled in, since you covered your whole career, you did a great job on started off and where you are today. You definitely ran through it and gave all the fans, a pretty good rundown. I apologize if a couple things you said got cut off, by my microphone, but I can guarantee you they definitely got like 99% of what you said. But favorite match that you ever wrestled in, like that you ever got to be a part of in that ring? Like, what was your all-time favorite match?
Hell on Earth 5. It was the end of the Blood Feud, Flexer Industries versus AIW, when I wrestled the man who unfortunately is going to be leaving the independent pro wrestling scene as of Friday, Johnny Gargano. And it wasn't just amazing because of who I was in the ring with. It was amazing. He to take me to a level of entertainment, a level of
So, one thing you can pretty much guarantee by announcing here on the podcast live, well, not guarantee, but pretty much say with a pretty good feeling, is that you'll never get in that ring and wrestle again, huh?
90% of me is saying no. 10% of me, I mean, obviously everyone has an itch, but I doubt it.
And hey, as long as you're happy doing what you're doing now, that's all that matters, right? You got to do what you love. It's all about your passion.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I guess what we're going to talk about now to mainly close out the show, and like I said, again, you've done a great job covering everything, and it's amazing, that you got to basically close out your in-ring career with Johnny, and that's what I want to close the show with. His last match. As soon as I said it was going to be his last match in the independent circuit, I immediately had to go up to, Chandler Biggins at the show, and when I was at Absolution 11, and order front row ticket. So, because I said I got to be front row for that, I got to soak it all in, and that's exactly what I'm going to do this upcoming Friday, actually 6 days from now. And I know it's going to get emotional. I'm sure there's going to be tears. I'm sure there's going to be laughs. There's going to be a roller coaster of emotions that I want to get my years correct. With Johnny, he started, I believe, in 2001, right? 2001, 2002?
He was pretty young then. I don't recall what year he started. I seen him work for the first time in 2005, I believe, at a Cleveland All Pro show. And that would have made him 18 years of age. He probably did a lot of training prior to that, but I believe that 2005 was his introduction to live audience.
And Cleveland All Pro Wrestling was an incredible company, and I remember when they transitioned over to Prime Wrestling, when they changed the name. And that's what I wanted to ask you about Cleveland All Pro Wrestling transitioning into Prime Wrestling Ohio. I remember their last show was
just to kind of correct you on that. Cleveland All Pro Wrestling and Prime Wrestling were completely two different organizations.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought they were the same because I know they both aired on Sports Time Ohio. They would have the Cleveland All Pro Wrestling, on late at night. And then I remembered, next thing I knew, I saw Prime Wrestling. And I'm like, oh. So, yeah, sorry about that. I thought they were the same, but they are different.
Yeah, it's completely different, run by different people. Exactly, the I don't know the breakdown of them because I worked for Cleveland All Pro and I worked for Prime like once, but yeah, two different organizations.
Now Johnny, I know he was working in Prime and he was the champ there. Was he going back and forth between Prime and AIW? Like he'd work a Prime show and then go work a show with you guys?
Yeah. I mean, independent wrestling, you have your options. You can work where you want. You're an independent contractor, so a promotion calls you, contacts you, emails you, texts you, whatever, and then you guys can come to an agreement, and then that is your obligation to work for who you would like. I don't think there's many promotions that actually put you under contracts besides, the big dogs. Wrestling, you can work for whoever you want, and pick and choose where you're going, where your path is going to go.
And I like that because nobody's tied down. You get to be comfortable. You get to do whatever you want. It's a great thing. But I'm sorry because I know my microphone cut out when I started to get into it, and I was talking about Johnny's last match. The whole shebang coming up this Friday, and it's going to be such a roller coaster of emotions, and just saying goodbye to this basically Cleveland icon and legend now going on to make his mark, in WWE and NXT. And what I do want to say is, well, first off, are you going to be refereeing the final match?
That's really hard for me to say. I don't know what I'll be reffing that evening until I get there. Would I like to? Yes. If it doesn't happen, it's totally okay. I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to see the match from start to finish. And I just want to be there for that moment, whether it's in the ring or out of the ring.
What an iconic match it's going to be. Johnny Gargano and wife Candice LeRae.
Oh, wife as of yesterday, I believe.
Also, those pictures I saw on Facebook with the wedding going on, that was Johnny's wedding then?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. So now Johnny Gargano ending his independent wrestling career, going up his wife, Candice LeRae. And, I've never seen one of their matches before, but I heard from a couple friends of mine that they had matches in the past. And,
well, being a married couple now, you know how, I've never been married before, but I've seen a married couple like really argue. I think this might be their biggest argument as to who the better wrestler is.
This is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see it.
Not to mention, the match is not just going to have one fall. This is a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Oh, it is.
It is.
Wow. Because I haven't checked, your guys' page lately, but I know the last I just seen the Johnny Gargano versus Candice LeRae, but 2 out of 3 falls. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. And if you haven't checked out the Facebook page and checked out what else is going on, if you want me to run down the matches that have been announced, we can definitely do that, and we can get back into the when of when the show is, and if he and Johnny's last match.
Yeah, let's do it. Go right ahead.
Okay, well, we can definitely start off with the very first match that was announced. Tracy Smothers is going up against WWE resident leprechaun Hornswoggle.
Awesome.
So Hornswoggle will be in the house, as also with the wild-eyed Southern boy Tracy Smothers, who's been on our shows very frequently. This is definitely going to be a match that no one's going to want to miss. Tracy being a veteran of 30 years. He's been in the business for a long time against one of the, if not the most accomplished midget pro wrestlers. He's now going by Swoggle. This is going to be a mix of styles that nobody wants to miss. Also, 2 of Johnny Gargano's students, the Weird World, Weird Body Evan Adams, and Worldwide Alex Keller are going up. And they've had some pretty crazy tag team encounters. This one might be the most unique one. The tag team debut of Space Justice, which is Space Monkey, Dick Justice.
That's going to be a great match.
You got an American hero, you got 2 weird dudes, and you have a Space Monkey. Like, what could happen? Use your imagination. Also, returning to AIW action is Shigehiro Ire. His debut at AIW versus the World. He's going 1-on-1 with Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, who has had a solid singles run ever since the whole tag team division just kind of had their issues. But Hot Sauce Tracy Williams is going 1-on-1 against DDT Pro Shigehiro Ire, and that's going to be Tracy Williams, but I'm pretty sure brutal, real hard hitting. Also on the show, we have 6 of Johnny Gargano's students from the AIW Academy going against each other in my favorite AIW match, the 6-way scramble. Those 6 participants in the match are Dominic Marini, King Baller, Britt Baker, Brian Carson, Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham, and one of the AIW favorites, Frankie Flynn, the Prince of Broadway. If you want to see what these 6 kids have learned through the tutelage of Johnny Gargano and Kenneth LeRae, kids I've ever seen wrestle in a very, very, very long time. There's these guys definitely don't hesitate on showcasing what they can bring to the table. That'll be a fun time. Also on the card is a kind of a tag team exhibition match, kind of to hype up the Double Dare 2016 tag team tournament to Infinity and Beyond, made up of Cheech and Colin Delaney, are going up against the incredible return. These guys have had 2 matches since returning. I don't want to use too much foul language on your podcast, but the boys from Jollyville, T-Money and Russ Myers, can be going up against To Infinity and Beyond. Also on the card is Alex Daniels, who has been going strong as the reigning defending Intense champion. He on the flyer it doesn't show him no strings attached, accompanying to the ring. No strings attached is Gregory Iron, Veda Scott, I'm having a brain fart here, Marty Bell, and Ray Lynn. I don't see them on the show poster, but knowing those guys, you never know when they're going to show up. But Alex Daniels is going up one-on-one against the return of Joey Janela. Joey unfortunately had a very tragic injury a few months back. He's back. He made his return last week, I should say. Challenging Alex Daniels for the Intense title with us, and he proves that he belongs in the AIW locker room. It's gonna be a very intense match, which is why it's for the Intense title. And the main event of the evening: Johnny Gargano versus Candice LeRae, husband versus wife. Fred Flintstone versus friggin' Wilma Flintstone, I guess you could say. You expect the unexpected in that match. Expect a lot of chemistry, obviously. I just hope they don't beat each other up, because I don't think either of them can afford to, or whatever a single guy is called. That's the lineup so far. 7 matches. I think there might be 2 more announced, or 3, 2 or 3. More than 3. But that's the card. It's happening this Friday at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel School Church in Cleveland, Ohio. The address is 1355 West 70th Street, Friday, September 23rd. Bell time, 7:30 p.m. Don't be late. It is going to be crazy. We're going to be punched in there like sardines. I can guarantee you that every seat will be filled, but don't be alarmed, because we have had shows where every seat's filled, and we make sure that all fans are able to get admission into the building, and we don't like to turn people away, and we don't want this to be a situation where... But also got to remember, this is Johnny Gargano's last independent match. Johnny Gargano, I'm going to go ahead and give you a plug here, buddy. He has 100 special edition commemorative t-shirts thanking the fans and the people of Cleveland, Ohio. The shirt is on his Facebook page. He's only going to have 100, a few in every size. Do not miss your chance to get one of these shirts. It's really freaking awesome. But he, this is where he started, Cleveland, Ohio. It's his hometown, and he's Johnny Wrestling. He's the king of Cleveland. He's the whole shebang. He's the bees, knees, cats, jammas. This is a very emotional night, but if you do not want to miss it, show up. You will not be turned away. That is something I will give you. You can hold me to that promise. You will not get turned away.
And I'll tell you another thing with Johnny, how you're talking about Johnny starting here in Cleveland, and this is where he grew up, what he's all about, where he started. And I remember when he got weighed in for the Cruiserweight Classic, he was even wearing a 216 t-shirt. Remember?
He's very proud of his hometown.
So he represents us wherever he goes, and he's a stand-up guy. I look forward to interacting with him one last time.
Get your picture with him.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get my picture with him. I'm going to get my 8x10 autograph, and I'm even going to bring my Johnny Gargano, the matches, the whole shebang DVD that he has out. So I'm going to get that autographed and just have a fun time and thank him for everything that he's done. And of course, I'll be watching his journey, onward and upward to the WWE.
Yep, the cruiserweight division has been able to open up a new path for people in the pro wrestling community. Johnny, I knew was his time. His time was coming, where he was going to be able to venture off and break away from the pack. Make a true living on the mainstream banner that is the WWE. Now is his time. Now is his time to show the WWE and the whole entire quote WWE universe what Cleveland, Ohio has to offer, and that's not a knock against anyone in the WWE currently that's from Cleveland, Ohio, but it is time for, in my opinion, the best pro wrestler in the United States to finally make his own in front of 20,000 people on a weekly basis with the WWE, whether it be NXT, whether it be Raw, whether it be SmackDown. But I know that his journey is far from over.
Oh yeah, and I've been bringing up Johnny Gargano. I've been bringing up his name for 2.5 years that I've been doing shows here on YouTube and uploading podcasts to iTunes and all that stuff. I've been always talking about how great Johnny is, and going up to the mainstream entertainment of WWE, I don't have a doubt in my mind that he is going to be the world champ up there one day, and I think he's also going to be named number one in Pro Wrestling Illustrated Top 500 Wrestlers in the World. I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that one bit myself. He's not to get too sentimental, too emotional on the situation, but he's a lot of things that have happened in my referee career or my referee time. A lot of things that I have been able to do and accomplish. Have done them without word of mouth from Johnny himself. Hopping in a car, driving 3 hours, driving 9 hours. I believe one of my first trips that I've ever taken with Johnny was up in Stamford, Connecticut. That's definitely not across the street. We're able to talk and bond and share stories, and so his friendship is very gracious and grateful, and whenever he gets too busy, I can stay in contact with him, but he's gonna have a whole career ahead of him.
Oh yeah, without a doubt in my mind. You're 100% right there, Dave. Oh, I know a question that I wanted to ask you. How did you get the nickname The Potato?
It was like a whole other podcast episode, to be honest with you. To make a long story short, my nickname was Potato in high school. I did these interviews for Cleveland All Pro Wrestling for my broadcasting journalism class at James Ford Road High School during my senior year. They wanted everybody to do current events and natural disasters and all this crap, and I was like, that's stuff's stupid. I don't care what's happening in the world. I care about wrestling. So I talked to my teacher, and me and a classmate of mine decided to do Wrestler of the Month. Now this was just an elective class, so I only needed 3 different types of articles. One one in March, one in April, and one in May or June. Now it had to have been May because I graduated in June. Yeah, March, April, May. So my first interview was with Billy Gunn, which is insane because I've never met that guy in my life. And then I got to share the ring with him back in May at the JCL Invitational Tournament. And pretty much I did the interview. I asked 10 of the most ridiculous questions that I can think of on pen and paper. And I signatured them. The interview was brought to you by Jason Rhodes, high school senior broadcast journalism student Dave the Potato Dawson. That interview was by a man named Stratman New, who still comes to shows. When the article was posted online, that one on top of the Axel Rotten interview that I did in April, on top of the Chris Hamrick interview that I did in May. Word kind of got around because people read those, and it just kind of went from there. And I've had the names since the 9th grade, and I thought it was going to just slowly fizzle out. People read those every time I'm a new wrestling personality. I'm introduced to them as the Potato, and it just stays.
Hey, that's awesome. I gotta tell you, because I was wondering, right offhand, when I went to my first show, that Keep the Change You Filthy Animal holiday show in December of last year, when I went, 3 came down and he gave you a drink of his energy drink and you got all hyped up and,
oh, Lord, yeah.
Next thing I know, everybody's chanting Potato and I'm like, I wonder why they call him Potato. And then next thing I know, you're taking rock bottoms and people's elbows from EC3 and Chucky Taylor. And
oh yeah, I would highly recommend that if anyone is going to drink Vegas Fuel, drink it at your own risk because that kind of stuff will happen to you if you drink Vegas Fuel.
I just seem like that instant effect.
It's a very acquired taste to it. I think it tastes like Tahitian treat. Like if I were to compare it to anything, it would taste like Tahitian treat. But the effects of Tahitian treat and Vegas Fuel are completely sides of the world. One is gonna make you feel like just sugar high, and the other one's gonna make you give pro wrestlers Hurricane Ranas and open do spinneries.
It's like I remember even the one time you were real hyped up when they were fighting in the crowd, and I got to use a little language here when it comes to this because this is just priceless. Because I'm thinking of memories from my first AIW show. Chucky Taylor and EC3 are fighting in the crowd. You had enough, and you're like, "Hey, one thing you guys got to realize here is that I'm the fucking referee." Yep, and then you're like, I'm gonna give you guys to the count of Potato to get your asses back in the ring. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my god, I was having a good time. I was laughing. It was perfect. It was perfect.
For some reason, every time I'm in the ring, every time I referee a match with EC3, really obnoxious happens. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Me and EC3 have had chemistry since one of my first times in a wrestling ring when EC3, before he was EC3, before he was even Eric Bateman, he decided to lift me up over his head during a Gauntlet for the Gold in 2006 and launch me into a giant metal beam that was holding up a concert venue in Cleveland, Ohio. So there's been a lot of weird but fun things that have happened with me and him, and it seems like those kind of things only happen when I'm in the ring with him. Listening to this, I don't know what you put in my drink or what kind of weird chemistry we have, but next time I'm in the ring with you, and if something like this happens again, it might be I don't know, my head might explode.
And you know what? I'm going to do everything I can whenever EC3's there again. And if I see you as the referee, I'm going to remember this, and then I'm going to try to keep track of what happens, and I'll report on it and see what happens, because now I'm going to be curious when you guys cross paths again.
It never fails. For some reason, when I'm in the ring with EC3, it's just the rule book just disappears, and something really obnoxious and strange happens. But if the fans like it, then I'm all about it.
Yeah, like, take it from me, I gotta tell you, I enjoyed it. I laughed so hard I cried, basically. I enjoyed it to every extent. It entertained me sitting in the crowd, so I'm sure it entertained everybody else. I had a ball.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy that we're able to keep you coming every show. We want to just keep you coming. If you can come to every show for the rest of the year, that'd be great. And I don't think you would be disappointed in the next 6 shows that happen. I don't think you're going to be disappointed.
Well, I'm definitely going to be coming to the whole shebang on Friday night. You'll see me sitting in the front row on one of the sides. I don't know what side I'll be on, but I definitely got a front row seat. So you'll see me sitting there on Friday night for the whole shebang, and then I want to make it a point to try to make it to Tequila Jack's on October 15th. So I'm probably going to talk to Biggins or who's ever doing the tickets over there and see if I can get something for the Tequila Jack show.
You don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out at all. But here's my thing. I want to hear you. I want to hear you on Friday. It's going to be loud. It's going to be...
And I will get as loud as I possibly can. I'll be cheering on, and you know what? Hey, if you're even outside of the ring or walking outside of the ring, I might stick out my hand and give you a high five.
Oh yeah, you got a high five, that's for sure. And I'm all about the fans. I'm all about getting opportunities like this. I know we've been chatting it up for an hour and a half, which is insane. Because like I said, I'm very rusty with podcasts. I'm not good at them. Not a good public speaker. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, I appreciate you being here, and I can guarantee you one thing. I'm sure you're going to do AIW proud. Just the rich history that you shared with me and all of the great fans listening. I'm sure AIW is going to be proud of your work here because you represented them well. And don't forget, one more thing I wanted to say to you, Dave. If you have any last minute things that you would like to promote, right ahead.
I guess the only thing that I can promote is I'm on all social media outlets. I don't know exactly what kind of links I have. I don't remember what my URLs are. But if you go on Facebook and if you go on Twitter and you go on Instagram, you can find me at just type in Dave Dawson. I'm not too hard to find. I'm probably the only Dave Dawson that has wrestling related things on their Twitter, their Instagram, and their Facebook. I have a like page that I don't go on, but I do recognize if I get more likes on that. I don't utilize them often. If you want to go on there and like it, that's cool. Referee Dave Dawson. For the show on Friday, I'm really excited to see everyone there. I have little pictures that I sell, little drawings that a friend of mine drew up for me. I sell those and I personalize them for people. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a crazy crowd. I do expect this to be at a high capacity of a Absolution crowd or a Keep the Change Filthy Animal crowd, G-Lit crowd, Gauntlet crowd. I do expect this to be one of the biggest shows that we have ever produced. And unfortunately, the circumstances is Johnny Gargano no longer going to be competing under the AIW banner. But that doesn't mean that you should stop coming. That just means, AIW is the place to be. You've seen all sorts of wrestlers come and go, all for the right reasons. WWE guys, is with the organization, and they come and they work for us. Hornswoggle being one of them, and Booker T coming and hang out and coming and beat up people, and it's just crazy. And then you look at some of the guys that have originally started with the company, like Raymond Rope is a Ring of Honor guy. He's there every month. EC3, DJ Z, they're TNA guys. Seth Rollins, Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens, Johnny now was with us for a nice handful of shows, and now he's back on the dance doing his thing. So AIW is definitely the place to be, and I highly recommend if you don't know the product and you're listening to this podcast to Indie Wrestling Short. If you're from the Cleveland area, please come out. We do shows at Tequila Jacks. We do shows at Our Lady of Mount Carmel. I guess you can consider like an A show and a B show. But nonetheless, whether it's a Tequila Jack show or an Our Lady of Mount Carmel show, you're going to get the best you can possibly imagine getting in the United States. There are other organizations who do very good, but AIW is going to be the organization that you are going to come and you will not be bored, to say the least. You're going to see Lucha Libre, you're going to see Strong Style, you're going to see big guys wrestling big guys, little guys wrestling little guys, you're going to see midgets, you're going to see women's wrestling, you're going to see comedy wrestling, you're going to see. You never know what you're going to see at these shows, but I can tell you this much, from the 11 years that I've been there, I still don't think that I have seen the world of pro wrestling. But if you want to see something for the first time, you will come to AIW. You will end up seeing something that you scratch your head and you look at your buddy next to you and you say, I cannot believe I saw that. I'm so glad that I'm here.
How I felt the first time I went. Exactly. I was, because my one buddy is the one that actually introduced me, to it, because he heard about AIW and he's like, hey, you want to come to the show with me? I'm like, yeah. And I went, and I couldn't be happier that I did. I really enjoyed myself.
It's all word of mouth. If I don't know where you post this podcast. I don't know how many listeners you get on a week-to-week, monthly basis, whatever, and the case may be. If you're sitting here on your Facebook, and if your buddy's sitting here on his Facebook, your co-host, just do the organization a favor. Share the flyer, share the message, retweet the event, reshare the event. Just get the word out, because I know that every person that shares it on their friends list, or someone who comes across the advertisement who has never ever seen it in their right mind, and trust me, it will. Come to a show one time, I can guarantee you'll be hooked. You don't want to come every month. It's fan supported, and I don't know how many times I can stress that. Everything that the wrestlers do is for the fans. Everything that the promoters do, all the matches, all the mixed styles, and all the excitement. Pro wrestling, it's not for the performers. The performers go out there and they risk their lives, and they risk their bodies, and they do crazy things that can potentially hurt themselves. But like I said, pro wrestling is pro wrestling. It is a battleground. It is a battlefield. They go out there and they compete with each other to perform and to be able to make all 100 to 400 to 600 fans, or whatever the case may be, leave the venue talking for the next week and a half, 2 weeks, about I cannot believe that I was introduced to pro wrestling on this type of level, and I'm really excited. I can't wait to see what.
Definitely. You hit it right on the head, and I can't wait for Friday. Also, I know it's a little bit out of order, but I thought of one question that I had to ask you earlier. What did you like playing better? As a referee, as a performer, like what side of the coin do you like playing better? Do you prefer babyface or do you prefer heel?
They're both very challenging because you have to be able to get be able to get your character over with the fans. Being a heel is really easy to make people hate you. I, for the most part, don't necessarily love each other. Like, you know, it's just a natural feeling. So it's just really easy if you just come out and look at if you look at your drunk best friend in the face who you brought to the show and you're performing in front of them, or if you look at a stranger and you just flip them off, they're gonna hate you.
Yep.
You come out to a ring and you say, "Let's make some noise." No one. It's hard. I like doing them. I enjoyed doing both of them. I like doing the wrestling proportion. I like being a performer. I like being a manager. I love being a referee. I wouldn't change it for the world. Being able to step in a ring and perform under any certain character or any sort of gimmick per se, 9 yards. I enjoy pro wrestling. I I don't see myself giving up anytime soon.
That's a great way to look at it. Like, myself, I have this dream, of getting into the pro wrestling business, and I would love to do commentating or like backstage reporting. And, I figured until I get there, I'm like, what better place than to start a podcast? And, I wanted to branch out rather than just talking about, like WWE news and rumors. I wanted to start getting interviews, and I can't tell you what an honor this is. And it's been awesome having you on the show.
Yeah, I hope I don't bore your audience to death. I'm sure you have ways to chop this interview up and shorten it up a bit. And I hope I didn't bore anyone to death. Because talking about me and talking about all the very interesting experiences, and I wouldn't really consider them the golden years of AIW. Kind of maybe like the dark years of AIW, where we really didn't know what was going on. To compare to now, the now is what matters, because I feel like the last year and a half of AIW has been the best times of the company's existence.
Oh, this past 9 months that I've been going to shows is just, you go to the first one and then you just keep going to more, and it's like it gets better and better every time, and you guys are getting bigger and bigger names, and I gotta wish you guys the best of success. But Dave, first off, I want to tell you, you can stay on the line, while I sign off, because I got just one quick All right, there we go. I hope it's working now. It should be. I see my levels moving. Is it working now? All right. All right, guys. Sorry about that little technical difficulty as I'm trying to sign off here, but like I said, Dave, stay on the line while I'm signing off. But what I want to say to you one more time is, and us on the show, and this has been great for all the fans, and I know you definitely helped educate them more about AIW, and I hope anybody in the Ohio area will check it out. Thank you, Dave. And everybody that has been listening to this podcast and listening on the live stream and all that, you can check out, do his referee his matches in AIW. I'll leave links down below in the description for AIW and all that good stuff. And you know what? Maybe someday down the line we'll get Dave back on again. But thank you very much for listening. This has been episode number 18 of the Beyond the Ring with Big T Wrestling podcast. And we'll be back for episode number 19 next week. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. And we will talk to you soon. Good night, everybody.